Hello and welcome to road.cc. Now, today is quite an interesting video. I've got a very shiny bike behind me, which I'm obviously a fan of. I've also got the CEO of Ribble Cycles alongside me. Andy, welcome to the channel. You've got a new bike. We like to keep things very simple at the start. What's it all about?
So brief for this bike was to design and develop the most aerodynamically advanced road bike in the world. And we went with a very bold brief because the way we see it, if we're not going to go in with a bold brief and do something that's game-changing and meaningful, then why would we bother? So we went with a strong brief and this is the product that we've come up with.
So it's all about aero then?
It's all about aero, all about real world, and it's it's all about rideability, so reusability in the real world.
Tell you what, there is a lot going on with this bike. One of the most noticeable things for me is this downtube. It goes from super narrow at the top down to really quite wide at the bottom. What's this all about?
Different areas of the downtube have to do different things. So the front end, the section of the downtube, so the upper section of the downtube, it has to be optimised to ensure you've got really clean airflow across the fork, across into the head tube, and then flowing towards the back, towards the back of the bike. You've then also got to make sure that you've got the integration then from the top end of the downtube into the lower section of the downtube, which has different characteristics that it needs to be able to deal with. So in essence, the lower section of the downtube, it has to be inherently very stiff because it's the bottom bracket area and this section here, which is providing the power transfer, which means that when you get out of the saddle or you're sprinting or you're putting the power down, you get that power down to the rear wheel. So we wanted to make sure it was very stiff. We also wanted to make sure it's still very aero, and in the real world, you're going to ride with a water bottle. But it's actually quicker with a water bottle than without a water bottle.
Are you testing with a rider on this, a mannequin? What's?
So we always test with rider. It's absolutely fundamental. So testing with bike only tells you a very small part of the story. So if you're looking at yourself when you're riding, approximately 75–80% of the drag is yourself, your body. So if we were just to test the bike, we'd only be giving part of the story. And also how the airflow interacts with the bike, how it flows over the bike and then hits the rider is absolutely critical too. So we always make sure that we test bike and rider together, and when we design it, we optimise it for both as well.
Awesome. So another thing about real world aero is that a lot of the time we see the real world aero applied at quite high speeds, like what the World Tour pros would be doing. But you and I, we're not World Tour pros. So what kind of speeds are you testing at here?
Well, I'm definitely not a World Tour pro. I mean, and as I'm getting older, I must admit I'm looking towards equipment to make sure I can keep pushing how fast I'm going. So yeah, when we designed this bike, we optimised it around 29 miles an hour, which is 13 meters per second. That's great for your pro rider and great for our team riders. For me though, I'm more a kind of 20–22 mile an hour rider, and therefore 10 meters per second, we also optimise it around that speed as well. And it's actually, you get a bigger benefit at the 22 miles an hour than you get at the 29 miles an hour, which means it's brilliant for the likes of me that's riding around at those kind of speeds.
Up here, we've got the handlebar. How did you come up to decide on this shape?
In the traditional bike here, is governed by the small metal clamp that attaches the brake lever to the handlebar. So we thought to ourselves, right, what if we can remove the requirement for that metal band and have a direct mount brake lever, which will then enable us to have this section here and the drop section any shape we want to, be it aerodynamic, be it ergonomic. So that's exactly what we did.
So we've got quite a revolutionary shape there, but moving into the middle, I can see these massive kind of humps. What are they?
Yes, the one thing we noticed when we were designing the handlebar was that our first iteration of the bar had a very slick truncated aerofoil section across the top here. And that was very efficient from an aero point of view when we tested it as bike only. As soon as we put the rider onto that bike, we lost a big chunk of that gain. What we saw was that the airflow was actually going nice and smoothly across the handlebar, but was then hitting the rider that was further downstream. The handlebar is always upstream of the rider, it's in a consistent location, and if we can create a wake up here that the rider can sit in, then there's going to be a net benefit.
You might have seen Dan Bigham. He's on the Ribble Weld Tight trade team. He likes his narrow handlebars, doesn't he? And it's a move that you've gone with these bars as well, isn't it?
So across the range, we've gone for 38 centimetre bars is the widest we go to. So it's 38 centimetres at the top here, approximately 40.5 here, down to 42 at the ends of the bars. And we go all the way down to, for our Pro Edition, which is what our Pro riders will be racing on, is down to 33 centimetre narrow bars.
Okay, it's time to put some scores on the doors. I buy this bike, I go for my local time trial. What kind of time am I saving?
So in real world conditions, what we're averaging at the 22 miles an hour speed, that you're going to see approximately 70 to 80 second gain over a 40 kilometre loop versus our benchmark bike, which is already very much aerodynamically optimised, very fast, race proven, race winning bike that our race teams are riding on, which is Endurance SLR.
I'll take that kind of time saving, absolutely. And we've seen, you know, your past bike that you just mentioned, we saw that it came as an SLR version, but there was also a kind of bit more affordable SL version. Is that going to be the same with this one?
Yeah, it's very much the same, yeah. So this is the SLR version that you see here. So the SLR version actually has a slightly lighter frame due to the carbon layup that we use and the grade of carbon that's in this frame. And this SLR version is approximately 250 to 300 grams lighter than the SL version. The SLR version, as you see here, comes with the new aero optimised handlebar, whereas the SL version comes with that level 5 handlebar, which is already aerodynamically optimised, but is more of a conventional integrated bar.
So I'm sorry, I know we've spoken about aero, but I've got to bring it back to the traditional weight. What are we looking at in terms of total system weight for this bike?
So total for this bike here, as you see it here with the full Dura-Ace, the MV wheels, in the SLR version is approximately 7.5 kilos. Frame weight in the SLR is about 1,050 grams. So yeah, it's very competitive.
Awesome. And this bike that we have behind us is the top of the line. You know, you've got Dura-Ace Di2, MV wheels. This even comes with the little paint upgrade as well. What am I looking at in terms of price?
So including the full custom paint here that you see, it's around about £7,600 as you see it here.
Crucial question, when are they going to be able to buy one?
So we're launching 19th of August. You better pre-order it at that point in time. Availability is going to be in the autumn.
Awesome. Well, if you're going to be placing an order, you've taken one look and that's it. That's good enough for you. Let us know down in the comments below what colour you're going for. Thank you very much for watching this. Thank you to Andy for his time. Thank you for coming all the way down here to see us. If you like this video and you want to see more of it, pop a like on the video and subscribe to see more from us. We'll see you in the next one.